Hello, welcome to 10 at 10, episode 172. My name is Michael Ramage. I'm the director of the Cyber Education Research Center here at Murray State University, and welcome back to 10 at 10. 10 at 10 is brought to you through a partnership between Murray State University, Grow West, the Technology Council of West Kentucky, KY Innovation, and local partner Sprocket Innovation in Paducah, and the Kentucky Innovation Station in Madisonville. So this is episode 172. So we're going to talk about the news of the day, share a little bit about what's happening in the world of cybersecurity over the last few weeks, and try to see what we can learn from those events. How can we help to make you and your family and your organization just a little bit safer? So that's what we want to do today. So let's just get into it. All right. First few stories talking about one of our most recurring themes and topics, which is ransomware. Ransomware continues to be an issue. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. But first, I want to share kind of what's happening at the federal level in the world of ransomware. There was actually in March 2022, the Cyber Incident Reporting Critical Infrastructure Act that's kind of initiated new regulations and policies in place. And as a result of that, there's a kind of continuing down the line. There's some rules that are being proposed. It's currently in an open comment period. I think it's till June 2nd, June 3rd. But one of the things that's in there is that companies would be required to report major cyber incidents to CISA within 72 hours. Now, CISA is the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency within the federal government, part of DHS right now, and or it has been part of DHS. I think it still is. But they have been tasked with protecting our critical infrastructure, particularly from a cybersecurity perspective. Critical infrastructure is water, it's utilities, it's also internet providers. Our communications providers are part of that critical infrastructure. So if you're, a company that's using some of our tech sector, MSPs, folks like that to help with technology, then what these rules could impact you is that perhaps within 72 hours of a cyber incident at your organization, you may be required to report that to CISA. And here's the bigger piece is that, or maybe it's not bigger, but just as important, is that within 24 hours, you would be required to report any ransomware payment. So if you pay the ransom, then you would be required to report that within 24 hours. If you talk to CISA, if you talk to Homeland Security, if you talk to the Secret Service, their FBI, they're all going to tell you that they want you to report that as soon as possible for a variety of reasons. One, maybe they can get your money back. That's happened a few times. But two, they can see the trends. And while you think this is happening you in isolation, it's really not. When you're in the midst of an incident, it's tough, it's hard. There's a lot of bad things happening, but the reality is that you're not doing this alone. It's happening to a lot of people. So the better that you can come together to actually report that, the better off everybody would be. But it could become a requirement for critical infrastructure providers, which could ultimately impact even small businesses that may not be critical infrastructure providers. So just that's something to keep in mind. If it were to take effect, it wouldn't happen until late 2025 at the earliest, according to the article, but something to certainly keep in mind. If the federal government had their way, you would not be allowed to pay the ransom. They don't want you to pay the ransom. Part of that reason is you're reinforcing bad illegal behavior when you pay the ransom. So on the surface, we don't want you to pay the ransom. But at the end of the day, for many organizations, for many insurance providers, it's a business decision. It's not what's right and what's wrong. It's a business decision. So how do you manage this from a business perspective? That's really what it ultimately means. So former acting national cyber director said that a ransom payment ban is the ultimate goal, as she put it, the North Star for cybersecurity experts. But it's a ways off. So it's not going to happen tomorrow, but keep in mind at some point in the future, it may be years away. That's where we want to get to, is to ban that altogether. It's going to be really hard and difficult for a number of companies when that ban does take place. But ultimately, it's going to help everyone in the long run. If we take that ransomware piece off the table, meaning people can't do it, then the time and energy that is put towards that is going to have to decrease from these threat actors. So that's something to follow as well, kind of looking down the road. And then the last thing, or last real piece on ransomware directly, is that ransomware, the amount, the cost of a ransomware payment is continuing to go down, and the number of people paying is continuing to go down. So in the first quarter 2024, 28% of companies paying ransom. Only 28% of companies paid ransom. That is fantastic. I mean, I think that's good. I think the fewer people that pay, the less we're going to reinforce bad behavior. And you can see this rate that is continuing to go down. This is what the federal government, what cybersecurity experts want to see, is they want to see this number going down. And you can see that on the chart there. There's still a lot of work to do. There's still some things that need to happen before we get to where we need to be. But seeing that trend going in the right direction is a really important piece. So anyway, this I thought was interesting, and I just thought I would share this. I don't know that I would do anything different in your organization based on it. But this talks about industries that are most attacked in cyberspace. So of the 5 industries targeted by cyber attacks, half of all attacks are against a financial sector organization. So finance is half of all attacks. Next is healthcare, 20%. So 1 in 5 attacks are against healthcare. 1 in 5-ish, 18% attacks are against government public sector. 4% is food, 4% is utilities. Here's the catch. Utilities may be the lowest on this list, but that is a scary thing because it's our critical infrastructure. So we don't have to have a lot of success there for it to be very disruptive to our nation. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But those were the top 5. I just thought that was interesting. We talked about this a little bit ago, and I thought I would bring this back up. AT&T had a data breach some time ago. We've talked about that on here. But what they are doing is offering customers a security bundle that includes monitoring, that includes some insurance coverage for identity risk, whatever that, or identity compromise, whatever that might be. So if you're part of that data breach and you know that you're part of that data breach, but you haven't seen anything on that yet, it's worth reaching out. And the last thing I'll touch on, I'm running out of time, is there's an article. There's been a lot of high-profile organizations, government, state, local governments that have been victims of cyber attacks over the last several months. And there's a couple of challenges with this. And this article, the State Tech article, really starts to highlight it. And the problem is that used to, we had a computer, a server, a whatever device in this room, and there might be a handful of computers around the building that connect to it, but it was all isolated into this building, and we could protect it in this building. Then we started connecting multiple buildings. Then maybe we added a cloud element, but now we've added a mobile element as well. Most of what we do is also has a mobile component. So we not only have to protect our physical area, but now we have to protect devices on the go. And it opens us up, and we're interconnected and all these different things. We want 24/7 access, all of these things that make it much more complicated to protect. And what this article is advocating for is zero trust. We've talked about zero trust. That means you don't trust by default. You don't trust another computer from a neighboring network. You don't trust another device until it is authenticated on that segment. Segments don't trust segments. We isolate it and keep it to ourselves so that if something were to happen, we can lock down the trust and isolate that impact to that one node, that one segment. That's a way to better protect our organizations. And that is something that this article is advocating for. And that is wrong view. Something that I certainly am a big fan of and want to make sure that you follow that. All right. I am way over time today. I am sorry. A lot of news I wanted to get to, and I didn't even get to all the news that I wanted to. But anyway, thank you for joining in 10 at 10. Until next time, have a good day. Thank you. Bye.